If you've checked the top trending videos on YouTube, you've seen Project Veritas videos at the top. Politicians are living in fear each day, wondering if their corruption will be exposed next by a Project Veritas undercover video operation. The fourth video in a multi-part series that is sending shockwaves through the DNC and the Clinton campaign was just released earlier today. And the mastermind behind it all, James O'Keefe, joins me now. James, good to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Dr. Gina, it's great to be with you again.
We've known each other for probably longer than we want to admit at this point, going back to the Andrew Breitbart days. And I just wonder, James, as I'm watching your work, which has just continued to get more amazing, more in-depth, more sophisticated, what would Andrew have to say about all this? Andrew
would be absolutely floored by it. I mean, he taught me a lot of things about the media. You know, when I met him in 2009, he said, James, these stories are as much about the media as they are about the actual topics you're investigating. So, I mean, Andrew taught me about everything. He taught me about the media is everything. I miss him, and there's certainly a vacuum without his presence.
Mm-hmm. You really have become the investigative journalist of our time. I mean, sadly, there are opinion makers, there are show hosts like me, there are commentators, there are spin doctors, but investigative journalism that used to take place in the news really doesn't take place anymore. And that has become essentially you. That's a big burden. What do you think about it?
It is a burden. Actually, people were asking me, we've been asked to go on, I don't know, something like 600 radio stations in the last week. And I'm so busy working, producing the next video that I've only been able to go on about 20 or so. When you get phone calls from people all across the country, like we do at Veritas, my team, we have a staff of 30, by the way. People don't understand just how professional our operation has become. We have an 8,000 square foot facility on the outskirts of New York City. We have a bunch of producers, and we have many undercover people. But when you get calls from people across the country, almost tears in their eyes, saying, we need you to come to Oklahoma, we need you to come to Los Angeles, we need you to come to Florida, please expose this corrupt teachers union official, please look into Jan Schakowsky in Chicago. Just over and over, there's just a lack of, I guess you'd call it, leadership in this country. And people are looking for any solution. They're looking probably for a savior, but they're looking for any solution to solve the country's problems. And my solution is to this guerrilla journalism, this exposing things undeniably on videotape. And I've been on your show before. We've talked about this many times. I believe the solution is to show people just how bad things are, and I think that'll wake people up. Mm-hmm. I think that's I don't have any faith in our government or in our politicians to do it. Yeah. I don't have faith in the corporate media to do it. So it requires ordinary people and citizens to expose.
Yeah. Your videos, the latest ones, have led to the resignation of 2 different operatives that were working inside the Clinton campaign. I don't know if people realize you literally had people working inside the Clinton campaign on the ground, well networked with her organization, and that probably I don't even know how many hours of video you've released so far are the tip of the iceberg. Tell us what we can expect next and what other major difference this has made besides the resignation of 2 different operatives. They try to discredit you in the media, and I always think it's easy because I end up defending you a lot on the shows that you can't go on probably. And I end up saying, but if it weren't true, why did these operatives either step aside or why were they fired? That's an admission of sorts. What else has come of your videos?
Right. That's a good point. I mean, they fired the people. I mean, they fired both of them. So when they say, oh, it's a lie, first of all, they don't deny what was said in the tape. Donna Brazile was asked about it, and she said, oh, well, the contract wasn't during that time period. And Brad Woodhouse, the president of the nonprofit featured in the video, said, yeah, we fired Scott Fovel, and yeah, we do coordinate with the Hillary campaign. So no one has denied anything. And thank you, Dr. Gina, for defending me. Of course, they're going to attack me. They're going to call me a criminal.
Right.
For a misdemeanor I got 7 years ago in a federal building with a camera when Bob Creamer is a convicted felon. I am not a convicted felon. Bob Creamer is a convicted felon and met with the president of the United States 47 times, according to White House logs, is close with Hillary Clinton. We have tapes we haven't released yet where Bob Creamer is on conference calls with the White House going over major strategy. Now, he was just fired or pushed away or pushed aside from the DNC. So this is pretty damning stuff. And WikiLeaks is important, but this has a tendency to be more impactful because it's all on videotape. You look at these tapes, the things they say, I can't even say on your show. It's so disgusting in nature. The way they speak about our democratic process. We need to win this mother effer using any means necessary. We need to hire mentally ill people to commit fraud and induce violence. It's sick. And these people are not low-level people. These are people who have been to the White House 340 times.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. And met with the president, I think that your videotape discovered that more than 70 times. I mean, that's more than the director of Homeland Security. So for people to say there's no connection between the Obama White House, the Clinton campaign, and this sort of thuggery, there's no case to be made there. Do you think criminal prosecution will come from this in terms of the Clinton campaign after the election is over, perhaps?
Well, I'll tell you what, two things. First of all, I think state attorney generals will probably pursue criminal prosecution, maybe in Wisconsin. It depends. And unfortunately, we're living in a situation where certain attorney generals pursue criminal activities based upon their personal political viewpoints. And that shouldn't be the way it is. That's, in fact, illegal. Just like the guy who did the Planned Parenthood videos, Kamala Harris went after David DeLayden simply because he's pro-life. And this is the state of play in our country. I think, of course, by the way, let me say this. Last week, when we broke the story, certain media entities, not just Fox, others too, I'm not going to give you their names, but you'd know of them, they spiked the story at the last minute. And the reason they did so was fear of retaliation from a future Clinton Department of Justice. That is where we stand as a country. Our media entities are afraid to report facts for fear of being attacked by their government. Now, the irony is, I'm nothing but a little nonprofit organization, and I can do things that these large media companies can't do because those media companies have shareholders and they're publicly traded. I'm crowdsourced funded by lots of small donors. So that's telling in and of itself. Will there be criminal actions? Well, there'll probably be criminal actions against me. They're probably going to come up with some manufactured thing, but I don't think the American people are going to stand for that anymore. And it's up to all of us to rise up against that type of thing if and when they do come after citizens like myself.
All right, I want you to give the pitch, James, because I've watched you build this from absolutely nothing and just with the passion and the heart of a patriot, just wanting to do what the media isn't doing anymore. So I want you to give your pitch so that people can contribute. We only have a few seconds left.
Well, we're a non-for-profit, tax-exempt organization, Project Veritas. It's right behind me, so you can see how it's spelled, projectveritas.com. We're creating a guerrilla army of people to do this because we don't believe that politicians or courts or judges are going to save this country. It is up to ordinary people doing extraordinary things. All of the people that I work with are putting their lives on the line. They're risking their lives to do this. They are
every day
going undercover, and we need your help.
We want to help you out. Thanks so much for being with us. James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. Make it a priority in your pocketbook. Back in a moment.